Now we need to quickly shift our attention to a breaking news update coming in. This is Air India Trichy flight, which is faced a mid-air glitch. So this is the latest bit of breaking news update coming in here on the right stand, and we're breaking down all of these details. This is an Air India flight from Trichy to Sharjah, which faced a technical problem. The airplane was then circling, and this was happening for an hour because the airplane's wheels did not retract. Security arrangements are tight. There are 141 passengers on board, and an attempt to land the aircraft was made when the aircraft was low on fuel. So the pilot has declared emergency, and a mid-air glitch has been reported on board this plane. And this, remember, flight is carrying 141 passengers, and you do see those images on the left side of your screens. I want to go across to my colleague Yash and Purnima also joining us on the phone line, in fact. But Yash, to you first, what are we learning from the authorities involved in ensuring that this flight lands safely? It sounds extremely worrying.
Well, yes, Christine, it is worrying, but what we are understanding as of now that this is a landing gear issue which this particular flight of Air India has actually is suffering from. In fact, this flight was bound to Sharjah from Trichy, and what the authorities and in fact what the aircraft carrier is doing right now is in fact they're trying to burn off the fuel because of the gearing issue. Because of the gear issue, they have to make a landing on a gear which on a flight speed which is not more than which could actually make any sort of impact. So this is a technical situation which has been encountered with this very plane. In fact, what we are learning that a lot of arrangements have already been made in relation to this very thing. In fact, what we are understanding that a total 144 passengers are on board. In fact, they will try to make a landing attempt when the aircraft is low on fuel, because what happens in such cases, the landing becomes a very big issue. In fact, first to decrease the weight of the aircraft, and also to minimize the weight so that the landing could be made in an appropriate way. And in fact, there are less chances of any sort of malfunctioning. But it doesn't mean that the landing gear is not working. It's not working in its full potential, because the authorities and the plane, the captains of this plane don't want to take any sort of risk when it comes to landing of this plane. But we are still waiting for an official word coming in from Air India. But as per our information, this flight had actually faced the technical glitch at around 5:30 p.m. and in fact now it is being circling to actually just to burn off the fuel. In fact, ambulances have been actually put on hold in this very case, and in fact fire tenders have also been rushed to the Trichy Airport.
Well, the flight took off from Trichy, and right now it's hovering over Trichy itself. I want to go across to Purnima to get in a sense of what's really happening at the airport. There are emergency preparations on in full swing, ambulances on standby. But what really went wrong here, Purnima? What more have you been able to learn?
Well, sources from Trichy Airport, they say that there has been a landing gear issue, and after the flight took off from the Trichy Airport, just 40 minutes later, they realized there is a technical glitch, and it's better to head back to Trichy Airport. And as Yash was saying, there's a technical glitch, and they are now trying to land at Trichy. It's hovering around the Trichy Airport, and it's currently circling to burn off the fuel, and preparations are on at the Trichy Airport for a potential belly landing. There are at least 18 fire engines on standby. Ambulances have also been called. So all the preparations are underway at the Trichy Airport, whether it's fire engines, whether it's ambulances, and they are trying to ensure that no untoward incident takes place. At the moment, prayers are on for all the 141 passengers who are on board.
Okay, and you're telling us in about half an hour after takeoff is when the pilot in fact prompted the authorities on ground that there's a technical glitch, following which now they're attempting to make a landing. Emergency preparations at the airport, as we do see, with ambulances on standby as well. But tell us a little bit about any sort of communication that the authorities have managed to establish with the crew on board. Purnima?
Well, in fact, what we are given to understand from the sources is that there's been communication. They are trying to ensure that they make a safe landing, which is why it's hovering around Trichy Airport. There was a technical fault that was detected earlier, which is when the aircraft was asked to return to Trichy Airport. Everyone is on standby at the Trichy Airport, 18 fire engines, and you can see even ambulances have been parked at the Trichy Airport. At least 18 ambulances have been on standby as a precautionary measure, and they are trying their best to ensure that it makes an emergency landing. Currently, the communication is on. We'll have to wait and see, but this is the basic information that we've received so far. We'll have to wait and see how the development pans out.
Okay, going across to Yash as well. Yash, from what we do understand, since about over an hour, the aircraft is circling over Trichy, and what we're being told is that all of this is, being done in an attempt to reduce the fuel load. So that's what the pilot is up to as we speak. But tell us a little bit about what I was just asking Purnima, any sort of communication that's been established. What's the status really on board?
Well, Christine, what happens in such cases, there are late protocols, and in fact, any captain or any pilot in such situations actually follow those protocols. In fact, a radio message, generally what happens in this situation, these kind of incidents or these kinds of technical glitches are reported to the air traffic controller, and in fact, then what happens is there is a proper SOP which is being followed, and in fact, what we are understanding as of now is that, like you also mentioned, that as per my understanding also in this very case, what the captain, and in fact what the captain trying to do right now is in fact decrease the weight of the aircraft, so that because there is a possibility that the captain and in fact the technical staff is unaware about the kind of technical glitch they are looking at. In fact, it might be a small one or it might be something to worry about also. So they want to make sure that there is a least weight is with the aircraft when the touchdown happens, if it is only because of the landing gear issue. And so this is the standard protocol which actually takes place, and you were also mentioning what are the protocols right now which are being followed. So there must be proper instructions which have been actually given by the authorities to the captain of the plane, because now landing in these situations actually become tricky. So that is why they had to actually reduce their fuel payload so that the weight is at its bare minimum when it comes to the landing of this very flight, because the captain doesn't want to make any sort of mistake where there is more payload. And in fact, right now, the kind of the gravity of the problem might be unaware, the captains might not be unaware about the gravity of the issue right now, what they're facing. So the minimum risk is what the procedure allows the captain to do, and in fact that is what being done right now, where they are just burning of the fuel so that the payload or the weight of the aircraft could be at the bare minimum where they make this very landing.
Okay, all right. I want to go across to my colleague Mugilan as well. Yash, Purnima, stay on with us. We'll come back to you in just a bit. Also trying to dial in a few experts to really understand how critical is the situation really as far as this mid-air crisis is concerned. But Mugilan, help us understand whether or not we've heard from Air India, because their statement is of most importance right now to really understand the latest situation. If this plane was to take off at 5:30 and if this was a departure on schedule, then this plane has been up in the air for over 2 hours now, and an emergency landing is going to be very, very serious if it comes down to that.
Now, Tiruchirappalli Airport is preparing for all scenarios. We are seeing in visuals there are numerous ambulances that have been rushed in to the Tiruchirappalli Airport, and all these emergency measures are being taken is what the word we are getting from the Tiruchirappalli Airport management. So far, we are waiting for an official word from the Air India as of now. But what we are is that this is a issue related to the landing gear is what we are initially learning from our sources, but we are waiting for an official confirmation. As our reporter stated earlier, now the attempts are being made to burn out the remaining fuel in the flight and land it carefully once it is emptied is what we are initially learning from the sources, and in the visuals, through visuals and in the flight track also, we can see still the in the Air India flight is still flying in circles, and once the pilot feels that it has reduced the fuel weight, and we can expect the flight to land again in the Tiruchirappalli airport. A possible belly landing is also expected. So all the scenarios are being taken into consideration, and all the arrangements are being made, is what we are initially learning from Tiruchirappalli airport.
Okay, all right. Mugilan, stay on with us. I'll come back to you in just a bit. I want to quickly take in a word from Group Captain MJ Venod, aviation expert, joining us on the broadcast. Group Captain Venod, very worrying, at least so far, of the details we've managed to access, because, you know, the plane is still up in the air. It's been over 2 hours since it's been hovering. It developed a mid-air glitch, following which it's perhaps going to make an emergency landing. Now, in this situation, sir, what are the odds at stake? What can you tell us about what we make of the ongoing situation?
Yeah, it's a great question. In fact, I'm also an airline captain.
Okay, great.
And got thousands of hours on airlines as well, apart from Indian Air Force aeroplanes. So with that as a background, I'm saying this. There are a couple of points that we need to flag, not only for our viewers who are watching, but also the relatives of the travelers who are in this particular aeroplane. You know, DGCA monitored, Ministry of Civil Aviation monitored every 6 months training plus check pilots, Indian Airlines pilots go through in India. In that, you know, realistic simulator training we go through. In that, we practice all the possible eventualities, including the worst possible eventualities of, say, twin engine failure over water and stuff like that. So, and we not only practice it, we like sort of grill it in us. And in every 6 month scenario, about 10 to 12 such practices happen, and we are, you know, certified and cleared for it. If you fail it, then you'll have to again go through a simulator training. And so, what I want to say is, such undercarriage glitch has happened earlier.
Okay.
It will happen in the future.
But since I'm running out of time, Group Captain, a quick 30-second comment from you. How difficult are these kind of emergency landings? If this was to be a wheels-up emergency landing, what's at stake, sir?
Wonderful question. In fact, it's practiced and the procedures are clearly there. The SOP is clearly laid down, and it will be a success. That is what I'm, you know, trying to bottom line out.
Okay, thank you, Group Captain, for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. Here's to hoping that this plane lands safely. We're tracking that very closely. That's all from me for now. Thanks for watching.